Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger and my friends. We got some pretty big news on the King of Fighters 15 front. So you just saw it right there. Season 2 and Shingo both launched January 17th. Now Shingo, the trailer, we'll go through it in a little bit. We got some other stuff to talk about first though. First, the Season 2 patch, no details just yet. But considering it's about a week away from now, I'm sure we'll get the patch notes pretty soon. When the patch is live, don't worry, I'll have full coverage on the channel. Although beware, the last time we had a major patch, the video for it was over 2 hours long. And there's even more characters in the game now, so it might be like a 3-hour video. So like and subscribe and all that, please. I will do my best to give you guys the best possible coverage on the patch. So now, besides the patch and besides Shingo, we also got some pretty big news. We have more details on the DLC, so we do know that Kim Kapuan is next and will remain so sometime in spring, no dates yet, but also Sylvie Paula Paula. Did you see that one coming? Because I sure didn't. And Najd, which is definitely stoking some people's fears because she's pretty crazy. And also more DLC characters yet in the future. We got those silhouettes, and we'll talk about that in a second here. But yeah, so we have all this, and we have a DLC roadmap. So the 17th is Season 2, ginormous, amazingly big patch, I'm sure, and Shingo. And spring, at some point, we will have Kim, and that also comes with the cross-platform play. And for a lot of people, that's the biggest possible deal. We all know the matchmaking problems. We don't need to beat that to death. But if they're doing crossplay with a whole bunch of systems, that means by definition, the matchmaking would have to be fixed. Then sometime in summer, we'll have Sylvie and Najd. Summer is a bit of a loose time frame. I'm assuming hopefully before EVO. And then sometime before the end of the year, we got our new mystery characters. So let's talk about them first. Silhouettes being the silhouettes, usually they give us a pretty good idea of what's going on, and I feel it's much the case here, as I have a pretty good idea on who both these characters may be. So for our first silhouette here, given just the stance, the fact that there's like some sort of suit being worn, but as it goes down, it gets long and billowy, I feel like this is pretty much a dead ringer for Duolon. Like physically fits the bill. You can see the poofy shoulders, you know, the longer lower body billowing stuff. He's a popular character. He fits with Ash Crimson, has a unique and fun game plan. So just across the board, I think it fits the bill. The only other person I could think it could possibly be besides Duolon is Gonitz. Mostly just for the clothing silhouette, but you know, they have been pushing the Orochi stuff pretty hard in this game, so it would also make sense to a degree. For the second silhouette, obviously kind of feminine, has a skirt, has a larger head profile, meaning wearing some kind of hat, and to me, dead ringer for Hanako, who is King of Fighters' resident sumo wrestler. And yes, you heard me right, sumo. Not every sumo wrestler has to be a big fat Japanese guy. You know, fighting games are a lot more inventive than that, so that's why we have Hanako. And yeah, so hat, skirt, the bulge, I'm assuming is her backpack that she wears. She's definitely a very interesting character, so that's who I think it is. Duolon, maybe Gonitz, and Hanako. Now for Sylvie and Najd, in case you've never played the King of Fighters 14, just a really quick recap for you. Sylvie is a creepy / cute Japanese pop idol. It was kind of a fad at the time for this kind of weird look. That fad has long since come and passed, FYI. Despite the oddball look, she is powered by nests. So she has a lot of like weird undefined powers. And that's kind of about it. Najd is kind of like a shadowmancer, if you will. Like a very dark energy kind of user. And was also made due to a contest. So it was basically submit a design, and whoever wins the design, we will make your character in the game. That's exactly what happened. She was designed by a Michelle Al-Barak, and they won the contest, so Najd got put into the game. Simple as that. Now, the other thing is, King of Fighters 14, Najd was like super top tier. So basically, a lot of people are already pretty scared of her return. Sylvie has an all-new look. Najd looks kind of about the same. And that's our DLC lineup. So there will be another Battle Pass, Season Pass for the characters, and maybe more than just the 6, because they did give Rugal away for free as a surprise. And who's to say that can't happen again? Keep your fingers crossed. Alright, so now Season 2 DLC talk, that's out of the way. Now let's talk Shingo. While Shingo's not one of the main characters of King of Fighters over the years, he's definitely one of the more popular ones. If you had to compare him to someone else, I guess Dan from Street Fighter would be the best bet, although that's not really totally fair. Because Shingo is a silly character. He's a comedy character, yes, and he is based off someone else. He is heavily based off Kyo. He's just very earnest. Like, he's not trying to be a comedy character. He is trying his best. And his only real flaw is he doesn't have magic powers like Kyo does. Like, as far as personality and putting in the training and the time and the effort, he absolutely has put way more time in learning how to fight than Kyo ever did. But yeah, that's his story, is he's the #1 Kyo fanboy. He wants to be just like him, and he'll do anything to reach that height, including being Kyo's lapdog, which hopefully he's starting to man up for himself. Now, gameplay-wise, once again, he is heavily based off Kyo, and you can see here he's trying to go for Kyo's Rekkas. Basically, how Shingo does it is he does big, brutal single hits on a lot of his moves, and they're imitations of Kyo's moves, just there's no flames or any other magic properties to them. And he's still a warrior in training, so sometimes he kind of botches the end of the move. So basically Kyo, but harder hitting and no magical properties. And one of his old properties is returning because the critical hit is now back. What is a critical hit? Well, it's about what you think. Take the normal move and then all of a sudden it's way better and does more damage. It can also change the properties of the move, like say knockdown timing, all that kind of stuff. And if it's like the older revisions of the game, it's probably truly random. So nice when you get it, but you can't plan around it. So more shenanigans here. Close normal into command normal into a big double fist bop, which since Yashiro is crouching, this means this is a true overhead. In older games, as you can see here, it was kind of tied to an animation, so now he can just do it by itself. And overhead when you're not looking for it, always a welcome trait. Another critical hit example here, and now here's a fun one. So it looks like he's got a proper command grab now. So before he had a proximity unblockable, which is effectively a command grab. Orochi Chris had much the same, and it got changed into a command grab for him. So that's great, command grabs are always welcome. And the final hit can also critical hit. And the way he lands means if this critical hits by itself, he might be able to get a follow-up. Like if you land this in the corner and get the critical, it definitely looks like he recovers fast enough to get, say, another uppercut off or something like that. So command grab, good, and the fact that it can critical, get more damage, and maybe combo potential, all the better yet for Shingo, for sure. As the trailer goes on, a bunch of classic Kyo/Shingo moves, and they're just showcasing, yeah, all these guys can critical hit. The slide out state here, maybe you can get a super after the fact. And here, yeah, Shingo's still a klutz, but at least you can weaponize it now, as when he falls, it hits the enemy. Now here, this one, I'm going to harp on this because this has major lore applications. Screw the gameplay, because this is Shingo's moment right here. So critical hit, that's great here, but what's happening is a lot more than just a critical hit. So Shingo, he hits Yashiro, there's a big hit spark, all that kind of stuff, and there's just a little bit of a flame effect after the fact. The exact same flame particle effect you would see if Kyo did any of his moves. The thing here is Kyo can do the flames because he was born with the ability. Shingo's just a normal person and thus can't do it. He's always wanted to do it. He's trying to imitate the moves to do it, but he can't. But after years and years and years of training and effort, even though it's not a lot, the flame effect is absolutely there. And it says it all. Right after the move's done, look at Shingo here. He's looking at his hands. He's like, whoa, what just happened? And this, my friends, is what we call character development. It's been 20 plus years Shingo's been trying to match Kyo, trying to be anything like his master. But the gap was always, Kyo was born with magic powers, simple as that. Shingo's a regular guy. But through time, training, and effort, Shingo earned the flame. He's basically completed his character arc, which you don't really see happen much in fighting games. And it's 1,000 times cooler than Kyo because he got it through sheer determination. He wasn't just born with it. So basically, you love to see it. Truly fantastic. It's taken us over 20 years to get to this point, but we did get there, and I just love seeing character development. Now, plot development. Shingo sees Ash Crimson and is sort of like, I sort of remember you a little bit. Ash was the one who saved him in earlier games from Ride of the Blood Iori. And Ash is trying to be a little cool about that. If you want to know more about the lore of the various King of Fighters games, check for the links at the end of this video. So all sorts of lore videos for you. Ash just loves being cool and mysterious like that. Now back to gameplay. So we see a bit of a combo out of him here, learning a bit of the combo structure. And one of the things out of the gate is the EX Rekka, critical hits, and yes, you can see the flame effect just a little bit. So it's not something he can do easily or on demand or whatever, but it is there. And also now we see the dunk. So the dunk earlier, we saw it as a raw overhead, but it does have the original hit here. So basically, maybe it's like a light kick, heavy kick delineation, but you can get either the hit and the follow-up or just the move by itself. And here we see close heavy into command normal into EX dunk, which ground bounces, and into the Kyo style kick. Now, the interesting thing here is that Kyo style kick, we've seen it before as a critical hit. So here, it doesn't critical hit. It's just a regular hit. So once again, critical's probably random. You'll have no real choice. It just happens or it doesn't. Combo-wise, though, he has ground bounces and he has wall bounces, so he's probably going to be very free form. Keeping the combos flying, close heavy, command normal, EX launcher into up kick into DP. So wall bounce, ground bounce, and a regular launcher. Once again, combo structure is probably going to be very fun to work with for Shingo. Shingo doing Kyo's Orochinagi, but once again, the flames, we have a little bit, but we're not all the way there just yet. So it's just a big F-off hit. Here we see a level 2 Rush Super. Now, what's really interesting here is the very final hit, because the very final hit is a critical hit. Now, almost assuredly more damage, sure, but we have that big spinning knockdown there. Is the knockdown different? Do we have different frame data on the hit? Do we get like setups on the critical hit and nothing on a regular version? Like, who knows? This is kind of stuff we'll have to figure out. And then we go into our big setup here for level 3. First, level 2 super, once again, Orochinagi level 2 can critical hit, which is probably important. And then we get the cinematic level 3 and kind of shows Shingo his dichotomy. You can literally see the burning passion in his eyes as he goes up. And then, well, he's Shingo, so big old headbutt, and looks like he's about to fall over at the end. And in case you were worried, while I do think the new look is super sharp, I actually love the new look, the classic Shingo look is here if you need it. So yeah, a lot. And we don't even know the biggest thing, really. Like, the Shingo stuff, that's great. All the new DLC coming down the road, also great. But the Season 2 patch is the biggest deal, and we don't know anything about it just yet. If it's anything what I'm hoping for it to be, it's going to be a monumentally big deal. Expect gods to fall. You know, Cronin, Jenny, those kind of characters have been terrorizing everyone for a long time, to a lesser extent like Kula and Yashiro as well. Hopefully, they're not crippled, but, you know, at least brought in line. And there's definitely a lot of people, like, say, Ramon, who could definitely use a big boost in power to get their way up there. So, I'm excited for the future of the King of Fighters 15. I think it's a great game. The only real issue it ever had is the online woes, which we all know about, but hopefully either the Season 2 patch itself or the crossplay patch coming in a couple months will finally deal with that forever, and then we've got a solid game for years to come. You know, the thing about King of Fighters games is they stand the test of time, right? And this game, other than the online issues, is one of the better King of Fighters games ever made. So once we cross that hurdle, it's good times for probably a very long time to come. That all said though, friends, we're at the end of the video, so thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some King of Fighters.